Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the news. Before we begin, a quick look at the headlines. MECL assures adequate power supply in Meghalaya, over 2,000 transformers to strengthen network, with monsoon expected to further improve supply. Government warns against illegal bike taxi operations. Rapido riders seek clarity on bike taxi regulations in Meghalaya. NEHU approves FYUP syllabus for 7th, 8th semesters. NEHU seeks PG framework. NEHUTA clarifies transition rules. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hails 12 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. The news in detail, starting off with the regional stories. The Meghalaya Energy Corporation Limited has assured that the state currently has adequate power availability. MECL Chairman cum Managing Director Sanjay Goyal said the power situation will further improve with the onset of the monsoon. He informed that over 2,000 transformers are being installed across the state to improve supply and reduce voltage fluctuations. On the Umiam Dam, Goyal said height restrictions for vehicles will continue for safety reasons, while the new bypass road is now operational for night super buses heading to Maoyong ISBT.
As of now, there is no shortage of the power as far as our state is concerned. So we are taking up various activities in terms of upgradation of the infrastructure, and we are taking all the localities into confidence when we are doing it, whether it is about the replacement of the wires, whether it is about adding new lines, whether it is about having additional transformers. We are putting in the entire state more than 2,000 additional transformers so that the supply is more reliable, it is more robust, as well as in many areas we have in the past have seen that the voltage issues are there. There's a complaints of low voltage, so we're trying to resolve all of that, and for that to set up these infrastructures, scheduled shutdowns are taken mostly during the daytime so that we can complete these works.
The Transport Department has asserted that no bike operator firm will be allowed to operate in Meghalaya without necessary government approvals. Commissioner and Secretary Sanjay Goyal said strict instructions have been issued to act against illegal bike taxi services. The statement comes after taxi associations raised concerns over unauthorized offline bike taxis allegedly operating under the Rapido banner in Shillong. The department said firms must comply with all legal requirements under the bike aggregator and bike rental rules before starting operations.
So we have come out with the rules. The bike aggregator rules are already there. Honorable Cabinet has already passed them. We have come out with the other category of rules, which is called the rent a bike and rent a taxi rules, wherein people, most of the people who come from outside, especially the tourists, they want to ride the bike on their own, or they want to drive the vehicle on their own. For that also the rules are there, and I will urge again people to take advantage of these rules which have been notified by the government, rather than getting into, there could be an issue therein, there's a lack of awareness about these facilitation which the government has done. So I'll request all those entrepreneurs who want to get into this kind of business, kindly go to your nearest DTO office, get yourself registered, take a license and then operate.
Rapido riders today met transport officials at the District Transport Office in Lawa Lashume, seeking clarity on the state government's stand on bike taxi operations in Meghalaya. The Transport Department has reiterated that no bike taxi aggregator can operate without government approval and legal compliance. The riders said they were informed that the matter will be decided by the government. They added that they will discuss internally and with offline operators before deciding on resuming services, while maintaining that app-based services help commuters amid Shillong's traffic congestion.
kajing berkat dungi galong be kontahi nginya perkat sya para mangi kajing kamai nginya keran sya nginya penbai ege kendung deram lada gila long di babian tate ngila kloy ban sekali biang yang tagi bat ba office ki ong ban lel ko number plate taxi pres nagi ki ong bai kadai kata kadai jinsya oh ngim nuk pa ban penthot igi taksi lase kumbo ong ki presiden badan burom jung ki driver lokal maupun taksi association maki ki ong ba umdan safety dengan cuai jumut i lajudan yang bersenjaru bayap bakira pido pencaya ngi lada don kita lada kampak judan te long berpinong kamdan ke safety kami ha de safety i kum kinius ki balas islam ki badam judan untuk basa amal ki ubah cak peniap hati beliau dipeluti de katu islam ki badam basa peniap tu normal ki de dapat taksi beli kumuru badan kali cak peniap katu duk pinong no kali gadon safety nama tapat pak don safety belatau kecingam kawan hi kecingam jingkar pat jungi galong bait ba ikwa bait kata ka permit ka bang nyo bait direct na DTO tang ba mai ong ngimla katang ya ban ya keren ba government de mentang ini rai ngin ngap galong gumno karai boro ka bang na kambiang de se ka don gane katai ka ba mi ka jingthot le sengi ka ba kamai online baki offline yo ngimya sto jingmot ka hi ngihap ban ya kenduk langsua baki ba kamai offline de se maki ki kwa da ka wei ngi kwa da ka wei kamla.
Shillong Police has launched an investigation into the vandalism of the vehicle belonging to Reverend McDonald Pingrop, pastor of Maukhar Presbyterian Church, who recently raised allegations of misappropriation of church funds. East Khasi Hills SP Vivek CM said police are trying to determine whether the incident was an act of theft or carried an ulterior motive. The pastor's vehicle was damaged while parked at Laumali Pillon during a church gathering. Police said the case is being processed after the FIR was transferred from Lumdinjri to Sadar Police Station.
We got information that Pastor McDonald Pungrop's white Bolero, which was parked alongside the road at Windor, was vandalized. The rear glass of the vehicle was broken, and for that he has filed an FIR at Lumidri, and the same was treated as a zero FIR, and which was transferred to Sadar. So Sadar Police Station has taken up a non-cognizable case whereby it's going to be registered after cognizance is received from court. Police is making all efforts to find out the culprit. We also trying to ascertain whether the culprit had intentions of stealing from, because there were things inside the vehicle, and or whether it had ulterior motives.
The Academic Council of North Eastern Hill University has approved the syllabus for the 7th and 8th semesters under the 4-year undergraduate program FYUP under NEP. NEHUSU General Secretary Martin Warjri said the union has urged the council to form a committee to frame guidelines for the proposed 1-year postgraduate program to avoid delays in admissions. NEHUTA President Lakhon Kumar confirmed that all syllabi have been finalized and clarified that students opting for the 4th year but unable to complete it will still be eligible for a 3-year degree, with transition rules for the new system to be prepared soon.
I think there are a few resolutions that we have taken. One, of course, is we have prepared the syllabus for all 7th and 8th semester UG program. Now there is no department left out. All syllabus for 4-year program is ready. It has been passed in this academic council. Number two, of course, there has been a very clear indication that we have no issue whatsoever with the students who may move to 4th year, and this doesn't happen to qualify the 4th year. They will still be eligible to get their 3 years degree, so there will be no loss as far as the student is concerned, because they may drop out in the 4th year because of whatever reason. They are still eligible to get their 3-year major program, undergraduate program. That is one. The third, of course, is very important, where we have said that we will convey to the college that university is in the process of preparation of this transition from 4th year to 1-year PG program. As of now, we have only 2-year PG program. We have constituted, we will constitute a committee to look into this transition from 4th year to 1-year master degree program. It will take some time. Hopefully by say July, August 2027, we should be able to come out with the rules and regulation governing the swift transition from fourth year FIUP to the 4-year FIUP to the 4-year program to the 1-year master degree program.
East Khasi Hills Police has said it will challenge the anticipatory bail granted to 9 persons in the T. Khong Maulo death case only after receiving the post-mortem and forensic reports. SP Vivek CM said the post-mortem was conducted on May 18th following the exhumation of the body at Pinter. The case relates to allegations that Khong Maulo was assaulted inside a Shnong hall before his death. The investigation intensified after a video allegedly showing the assault surfaced online, leading to the registration of a 0 FIR.
Was vandalized. After the exhumation, that post-mortem was done on the spot, but we have not got a post-mortem report, and we will be able to get a clear picture only after we get the post-mortem report and the other forensic reports. At this juncture, I cannot say anything until we get the post-mortem report. We will be able to say whether it was due to assault by the VDP members or whether it was caused by other reasons. Like I said earlier, we will challenge the anticipatory bail after we get the post-mortem report.
National People's Party NPP candidate for the Shillong Lok Sabha by-election Dr. DRL Nonglait said a public meeting at Chiliang Ride Community Hall in Jowai. Dr. Nonglait, accompanied by senior NPP leaders including Health Minister Waidlan Miki Shila, highlighted the need for constitutional recognition of the Khasi language and said the next MP must raise the issue in Parliament. He stated that his candidature is driven by service to the people and stressed key issues such as education, secularism and social harmony. He also sought public support for the party in the forthcoming election.
Namile persa alimelo, handai kasih lebih nak tahu apa. Namile persa alimelo, handai kasih lebih nak tahu terbaik apa. Gakwa, bangin weno yang kita isi, bang weno yang kita kensal, kaji pergi, kaji pergitar, handai, bang terikam, bang keren. Dan kejing jajai, bata kejing iye, yang kita beri. Madam iye, yang para macam ni para beri, kuno ni lah orang iye, yang kejat beri. Kejing kalau, kejing khan kejaman, bagaimana keno kejing itu, kejing apa kena, hanya semua kita ada, lese, bom yang biar nak kejing orang beri.
Meghalaya BJP spokesperson M. Kharkrang has urged the state government to relax tender conditions for major public health engineering projects to ensure greater participation of local contractors. Reacting to the awarding of PHE projects worth around Rs 1,900 crore to an outside firm, he said strict eligibility criteria are limiting opportunities for local entrepreneurs. Kharkrang called for restructuring tender norms and dividing large projects into smaller packages to boost local participation and address unemployment concerns in the state.
If we give to contractors from outside, I mean, it's natural that money will not stay here. So which means whatever money that has been pumped in by the central government, then it leaves the state, ultimately it leaves the state. You see, so by giving the contract works to the local contractors who can manage it, that money will circulate within the state. And that is how the economy of the state also will grow. Now, if you're not, if all the money is taken out from the state, then whatever capital investment you have in the state also, it's meaningless. It's meaningless. You see that asset, but that money which has been utilized there, that will not stay here, that will leave the state. I'm not talking per se only this PHE contract, but I guess all other contracts also. You see, we have an unemployment crisis in our state, and many of our young people have started to venture out into business. And We have seen a lot of capital investment is happening around in Meghalaya now because of the support that the MDA government gets from the central government. That's why we see a lot of development.
Headman B. Dakar of Yongkalu village in East Jaintia Hills has highlighted the long-term economic impact of the National Green Tribunal's 2014 coal mining ban. Speaking to DD News Meghalaya, he said livelihoods, education, small businesses and local services have been severely affected since the ban. He noted that many residents are now forced to seek work outside the district, often facing delayed or unpaid wages, while some families struggle to afford education and healthcare. He urged the government to address the situation, saying the community hopes for a sustainable solution to ease hardships caused by the mining restrictions.
Kam giru pa ba yung isentia sa komeni wa hawa em gini ki association ki walai chakman te ina liang yung kerchane ki yuluti lang ba kasing yaluti yung ki ulai luti sa ki bentao per kamtam kerpat iya ki bahalor yung ki wapat kumanbay man pa yung gajala yung kamtam ya government Meghalaya apo jeng alam chief minister wa emburam yuluti lang ba yung ki la taray mem kwa gi utngan upat gi wacha tngan ki kon yung gi isintia mem yusuk ki upat wa lado stom gi kon myo bisa ki bagi pa lalbo hospital uyap ki kon hayung te kamsem yung chief minister churwa ki government yung Meghalaya te usar emba ijing chania yung ki berupa iba wa em ki mensem siawlem tiblem utuk gi lat goluti hakawa usolve kamtam yaw ni problem wa kam gi isentia chamjang da bon deligisnam.
A newly formed Piggery Farmers Federation has submitted a memorandum to the government demanding a 100% waiver of piggery mission loans in view of heavy losses caused by African swine fever ASF, market collapse and rising debt burdens. In a memorandum to the Governor, Chief Minister and Animal Husbandry Minister, the Federation said repeated ASF outbreaks have wiped out livestock and livelihoods across the state. The Federation also demanded loan recovery suspension, compensation and stricter regulation on pork imports. It further called for a Buy Meghalaya pork policy to support local farmers.
From our Federation side, we submitted letter and demand government to take care of this African swine flu. We're still going on at the moment also. Many of the pigs now in Ribohoy also they're still suffering of this African swine flu. And the debt trap. And the other things like that, one thing that we're suffering as a farmer is this one, the unregulated market influx. Due to the influx of pigs from Assam, which are brought from Punjab and many parts of India, and many pigs were coming from outside the state, they are competing in the market with the local pigs. But the local pigs would happen for us, the locals, it used to take for us up to 1.5 years or so to raise one pig till it reached the market stage. But what happened, these pigs coming from outside, it'll take for them just 4 to 5 months. Sometimes 4 also, 4 or 5 months, even 6 also, for them to reach that marketable stage. So the problem here with us, we are not able to compete with the pigs coming from outside. So we demanded government, we demanded the government that. So this problem is causing a problem to the farmers. So from our side, as federation, we do demand, we put some demands to government Meghalaya through Sanbor, that our main demand is that we request the government to waive that loan, the piggery mission loan, for 100%.
The Health Department of Ribohoy district has urged residents to remain vigilant following reports of measles spread in the region. District Surveillance Officer Dr. Alicia J. Siemle said the advisory has been issued in view of rising cases and the district's connectivity through National Highway 6, which sees heavy movement of people. She informed that a few children in the district have already been affected and stressed that vaccination is the only effective preventive measure. The department has appealed to parents to watch for symptoms such as fever, cough and rashes and to seek immediate medical care while isolating affected children to prevent further spread.
Thì hakabay day bat kani ka kajing poor state jo kani kajing pang nyang perset ka bangi hakilat patay kubon ki bakubon ha Bangladesh hado menen kasni absanterik lerang ipit haki kubur ngin iba kumba sanspa tam ki belayap dah kena jingpang yang persit ha Bangladesh bat kumbahan ribu hajar tam kiba layo ya kena jingpang kani ka jingpang kumnu ka sedang kidak kishin ki jongka ki long ningkong itu i bria di kena ila banyo ka jingshit ke bajul tingkan poi hadok si spa si spa lai ka jingshit nalor kata gila ban mi sa kita ki rush mo ki ba saw ki gila ban sa ki sports mo ki belong saw ha ka met ka jong ki kong ki sedang sha ka dur kmat shadien jong ka di ka score gila ban split sha ki kiti bat ka hiar pat sha ki kijat ti bat bro ko ka met hi gila ban ia ta ki rush la kala khamjur ti nalor kata gila ban don ka jingjur ho gila bandan ke jing saw ki khmat ke jing mi ummat gala bandan ke jing sut ke skor gala ru ban khamjur ke pneumonia la da ka wan ka khamjur gala ban poi ke pneumonia ka ta e kitor gala ban khamjur shu e ka khmat gila ban matla ru ki ki bayo e ka jingpang bat la da ka ta e ka jabien gala ban poi ka ta ka encephalitis haba ka jabien ka siep bat ka mo ka kanang jur mo bat ka lada ka khamjur shu kala ya ban yalam lu sha ka jingyam.
The Khasi Students' Union KSU North Khasi Hills District today met Rebhoy Deputy Commissioner Abhilash Baranwal to discuss key development issues in the district. The union appreciated the administration for implementing several long-pending demands, including street lights, food overbridges and other infrastructure projects. KSU leaders said they were pleased with the progress and lauded the DC's proactive efforts to improve public facilities. The union also felicitated the Deputy Commissioner for his contribution to the district's development. Moving on to regional news. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has expressed gratitude to Bhutan Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay for visiting Guwahati, saying the engagement will further strengthen ties between Assam and Bhutan. Tobgay met Governor Lakshman Prasad Acharya and Chief Minister Sharma during the visit and reaffirmed commitment to deeper cooperation. The Bhutanese Prime Minister also visited the Ma Kamakya temple to offer prayers and seek blessings. Assam officials said the visit is expected to boost cultural exchange, regional cooperation and economic partnership between the two sides. A look at the national stories. Marking 12 years since Prime Minister Narendra Modi took oath on May 26, 2014, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh described the period as a transformative phase in India's developmental journey. In a social media post, Singh highlighted achievements in economic growth, digital transformation, infrastructure, national security and Atmanirbhar Bharat. He said PM Modi's vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas has strengthened inclusive development and inspired millions across the country. President Draupadi Murmu conferred the Padma Awards for 2026 on 66 eminent personalities at the first civil investiture ceremony held at Rashtrapati Bhavan yesterday. The honours include 2 Padma Vibhushan, 6 Padma Bhushan and 58 Padma Shri awards. Noted actor Dharmendra Singh Deol was conferred the Padma Vibhushan posthumously, with his wife and MP Hema Malini receiving the award. Violin maestro N. Rajam also received the Padma Vibhushan. Padma Shri recipients included Indian women's cricket captain Harmanpreet Kaur and Meghalaya environmentalist Hallie War, among others. The awards recognize excellence across fields including art, public affairs, sports, science and social service. The Quad Foreign Ministers meeting concluded in New Delhi with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar chairing the discussions. Foreign ministers from Australia, Japan and the United States attended the meeting. Dr. Jaishankar said the Quad nations will further strengthen cooperation in the Indo-Pacific with focus on maritime security, counter-terrorism, humanitarian assistance and regional connectivity. He also stressed deeper collaboration among the democratic nations to address global and regional challenges.
To start, understandably, much of the discussions and indeed the bilateral exchanges were devoted to the current state of the world. Being Quad, we naturally focused on issues of particular relevance to the Indo-Pacific. Because we are four maritime democracies located at different ends of the Indo-Pacific, the exchange of perspectives was an exercise of considerable value. The maritime domain has seen a steady expansion of collaboration, including surveillance and domain awareness, logistics network, undersea cables, training, capacity building, and HADR activities. We will be continuing to deepen these areas in the times ahead. We spent some time on the question of safe and unimpeded maritime commerce and reaffirmed the significance of scrupulously observing international law. Our four nations are also market economies. We believe strongly that economic resilience should be promoted, that supply chains should be strengthened, trusted and secure technologies diffused, and production capacities enhanced.
Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal held high-level meetings in Ottawa with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney and senior ministers to strengthen bilateral economic ties. Discussions focus on fast-tracking the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement CEPA, boosting trade and expanding cooperation in agriculture, food processing, sustainability and agri-tech. Goyal also held bilateral talks with Canada's Minister of International Trade, Maninder Sidhu. Both sides agreed to deepen economic engagement with plans to significantly expand trade and set ambitious targets for future cooperation.
The speed and intent of both sides, Canada and India, is phenomenal when it comes to working together for the shared prosperity of the people of India, the people of Canada, providing business opportunities for both countries, and a very ambitious target going forward, where our Prime Ministers have tasked us not only with completing the free trade agreement with a comprehensive outlook before the end of this year or earlier, but tripling our trade from a current $17 billion level to a $50 billion.
Lastly, around sports. India women's national football team delivered a dominant performance, thrashing Maldives 11-0 in their opening Group B match of the SAFF Women's Championship in Madgaon, Goa. Aveka Singh started with 4 goals, while Priyanka Naurem and Karishma scored a brace each. Pyari Zaza, Dangme Grace and Sangeeta Basfor also got on the score sheet in the commanding display. Ranked 69th in the world, India controlled the match from start to finish against the 167th ranked Maldives. The 5-time champion will next face Bangladesh in their upcoming group clash on Sunday. The FIFA World Cup trophy has arrived in Toronto as part of the Coca-Cola Trophy Tour ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The trophy was unveiled at Nathan Phillips Square alongside Italian coach Alessandro Nesta. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney also welcomed the trophy in Ottawa during its visit across one of the host nations of the upcoming tournament. The tour highlights growing excitement as Canada prepares to co-host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. A look at the weather report. In Tura, the minimum temperature stands at 21 degrees Celsius with maximum temperature at 31 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is 67% and the rainfall recorded was 4.7 millimeters. Moving on to Shillong, the minimum temperature stands at 17 degrees Celsius, the maximum temperature at 22 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is 66% and the rainfall recorded was 5.1 millimeters. And in Jowai, the minimum temperature stands at 18 degrees Celsius with maximum temperature at 26 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is 71% and the rainfall recorded was 2.8 millimeters. And the forecast in Tura, Shillong and Jowai says moderate rain with thunderstorm likely at many places. Before we wind up, a quick look at the headlines once again. MECL assures adequate power supply in Meghalaya, over 2,000 transformers to strengthen network with monsoon expected to further improve supply. Government warns against illegal bike taxi operations. Rapido riders seek clarity on bike taxi regulations in Meghalaya. NEHU approves FYUP syllabus for 7th and 8th semesters. NEHU seeks PG framework. NEHUTA clarifies transition rules. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hails 12 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. With that, dear viewers, we come to the end of the news bulletin. For more updates, join us tomorrow at the same time, same channel. Until then, have a great evening.
Exercise of considerable value. Including surveillance and domain awareness, logistics network, undersea cables, training, capacity building and HADR activities. We will be continuing to deepen these areas in the times ahead.
The centre has constituted a high-level